All right, this is the third video of 3 videos for Unit 6 review. And we're working problems 19 through 27. So I'm going to start by taking a look at number 19. It says convert the following to slope-intercept form. That means I want them to look like y equals mx plus b, which means I'm trying to get the y on the other side by itself. And then when you're done, identify m and b. So this is in standard form. If I'm trying to get the y by itself, then the first thing I'm going to do is add 3x to both sides, which gives me 2y equals 3x minus 8. Again, I'm trying to isolate the y, so I'm going to divide everything by 2. I'm left with y equals 3 halves x minus 4. So my equation is y equals 3 halves x minus 4. My slope is 3 halves, my b is negative 4. Taking a look at problem number 20, if I'm trying to get it in slope-intercept form, that means I'm solving for the y term. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. I'm left with 2y equals negative 4x minus 10. I'm trying to get the y by itself still, so I divide by 2, which gives me y equals negative 2x minus 5. So my equation is y equals negative 2x minus 5. My slope is negative 2. My b is negative 5. Now, I'm moving pretty fast because I have to go to morning duty and I'm worried that I'm not going to get my video recorded in time. So if you need to pause it, feel free to do that or rewind. All right, now this one is different. Whenever I have a point slope form, then I know that I need to first distribute. So first I'm going to distribute. So I have y plus 3 equals 1/3 x, and then 1/3 times negative 6 is going to give me a negative 2. Now I'm still trying to isolate the y and get it by itself, so that means I need to subtract 3 from both sides, and I have y equals 1/3 x minus 5. So my equation is y equals 1/3 x minus 5, which means the slope is 1/3, the y-intercept is negative 5. Taking a look at number 2, the first thing I'm going to do is distribute, and then the second thing I'm going to do is solve for y. So I'm going to distribute the 4/5, and let me do that differently for people that have a hard time distributing. So I get y plus 13 equals 4/5 times x, and then 4/5 times 25. Now you have a calculator, you would plug that in. When you do that, you get 20. Now I still need to isolate the y, which means I'm going to subtract 13 from both sides. And I have y equals 4/5 x plus 7. So my equation is y equals 4/5 x plus 7. My slope is 4/5. My b is 7. Now this one wants you to convert to standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. And I'm not going to lie, this is a little bit of a pain. Okay? So there's a couple of ways you can approach it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the fraction. And that means I'm going to multiply by 3. I'm going to multiply every single term by 3. So that's my denominator. So I know if I'm going to clear the fraction, I'm just going to multiply everything by 3. And multiply by the denominator. So 3 times y is 3y. 3 times 8/3 x is going to give me 8x. If you don't know 8/3 times 3 is 8, do that in your calculator. And then 3 times negative 2 is going to give me negative 6. Now on the standard form, my x and my y are on the same side. So I'm going to move the x. So the second thing I did was move the x term. So I have 3y minus 8x equals negative 6. Ooh, look at that. I put that in the wrong order. Look at that. I want to keep it ax plus by equals c. Now I'm in the right order. Now we want our a value, generally we want our a value to be positive. It's not always true, and you can have a fraction, but we're going to go ahead and practice that because that's the way we see it on the EOC. So negative 1 times negative 8x gives me an 8x. Negative 1 times 3x is a minus 3. I'm sorry, times 3y is a minus 3y. Negative 1 times 6 is 6. So now we're in standard form. Taking a look at number 24. First thing I'm going to do is distribute. So I get y minus 8 equals negative 2/5 x plus 2. And then the second thing I'm going to do is move the x value. Now you could clear the fraction at this point if you want to, but I just tend not to. So I have 2/5 x plus y minus 8 equals 2. Now we're trying to get ax plus by equals c, which means I'm trying to get the x and the y on the left. So that means I need to get rid of that 8. So I'm going to add 8. So I have 2/5 x plus y equals 10. Now if I clear out that fraction, it means I'm going to multiply by the denominator, which in this case is 5. So I'm going to multiply each term by 5. That gives me a 2x times 5 is 5y times 5 is 50. And now I'm in standard form. I'll take a look at number 25. Now this one is a different problem. I put this in the review because I wanted to challenge you a little bit. So it says, which of the following two functions has a greater value? They're talking about what is the y value at the y-intercept when x equals 5, and then it tells you to justify your answer. So I'm going to start with this line g of x. I know it's g of x because it's labeled g. And if I know it's x of 5, then I go to where the x is, and go up here to 5, and then back here to the y value, and I know that g of 5 equals 35, because right here is 35. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do the next one. You can put this in your y1, go look at the table and see where it's 5, or you can plug it in. Because I don't have the calculator that I can show, I'm going to plug in the value, which that gives me negative 100 plus 150, which means f of 5 is going to be 50. So which one of these has the greater value? Which one of these has the greater y term? Well, the answer is f of x. So the function f of x is greater. Value. And me showing my work is how I justified my solution. All right, taking a look at number 26. Shauna and her family have subscribed to a bundle home internet service, and the company used this function to determine the total charges for X months. Now let's talk about this function. That means they had a sign-up fee or an initial fee or a starting fee of $50, and then they get charged $19.50 each month. So the total charges increase by $19.50 per month. And I know that because it's the slope, 19.5x, this is $19.5 per month. And I know it's per month because it says X months. At the end of 24 months, the family has been charged what? So I'm going to go take this equation and put it in my y1, and then I go to the table, and x is months, and so I look where x equals 24 in the table. And I want you to do that step. When you do that, you should get 518. Go check that. Then I'm going to look for the next problem at the y values, because it says at blank months, and I know blanks is the x values, the family will have been charged a total of $260. Okay. So that means I'm going to look for a y value of I said 260, I meant 206. I'm I'm going to look for a y value of 206, so I scroll up and down on that table till I see a y value of 206. When I do that, the x value is 8. Now it says describe the range of this function. Well, range is y values, so I'm looking at the y-axis. I notice that my lowest y value is here at 0. When I try to go draw the boundary line at the top, I can't because it is arrows. So I know my y values are increasing, so I know y is greater than or equal to 0. All right, this is the third video of Review 6. Please remember you have your test on Monday. Bang! Don't forget to study and have your reviews completed so that you can earn your 5 points.